Hi folks, this video is about using Python to create a draft email, draft Outlook email uh, with with a table attached to it, and of course with the normal text, the email text, and with the signing off at the bottom. In between, will also include a table in the email. So basically, we are using uh, the Outlook email to create the draft email. So without further ado, I shall go through the code. And this code, I will put it in my blog codingengineer.com, which the link will be included in this video below. So without further ado, let's go through the code. And the first line, we have the libraries. We will be using Win32 for the Outlook email application, and also Pandas, PyODBC to connect to SQL Server, and also the datetime and the logging function here. So the second line is we are creating a function to connect to SQL Server. Here we're putting it into a try catch statement, just in case that the connection fail, will be prompted that the connection is not successful. So here we will be using SQL Server, and we will use PyODBC method.connect, and we'll feed with the argument driver your SQL Server database, the database that you want to query, and also the user ID and your password. And this query will create a table which will be included in the draft email. So this table, the table in the draft email comes from your database that you query out. So after that, we will create a cursor with a connection, and we will tell that we will feedback that the connection is successful. If it's not successful, then it will be logged into a file called a log.txt file, which is in the same folder as this script. And we will include the time first, then we will log the error, the exception. And after that, we will let the user know that the connection is not successful. So this log is basically in the same location as the file. And now I shall show you the log. This is the log. So you have the timestamp and also the exception here. So after which you will connect to the SQL server, and when successful, you have this message, connection successful. Then after which we will create the query. So this is the connection to the SQL server. So after successful, we will prepare the query, and from here we will select from the label force table where the year is 2022 or 2021, and we will fit this query into a data frame using the pandas pd.readsql. We will feed the query, which is here the query object, the variable, and the connection on top CONN here that we have created. Then we'll create the data frame, and we will change the data frame into a HTML table here using the .to_HTML method, and with the index parameter as false. After that, this is the HTML table that we will include in our email. So if you have multiple table with different query, you will have to query one by one and create a table one by one into a HTML table. You have to query one by one. So in this case, you'll be using only one query and one table for the two email that we will create. So the next function is a draft function. It's a create draft email function where you will feed in your person that you want to send to, the person that you are CC, your subject, and your email body. So you will use the Win32 library to create an Outlook object. And with the Outlook object, we will create a mail object. And using the mail method, mail.to, mail.cc, we will feed the input argument here into the respective variable. After that, we will create the draft email by using the mail.save method. If you want to send the email directly, you can use the mail.send method. But in this case, I just want to create the draft in the draft folder so that the user can double check the email and click send manually. So the next line is a config file. The config file is where we create all the different email that we want to send. So the config file is basically just an Excel file. I can show you here. So here we'll be sending 2 email. So theoretically, you will have different recipient here, but I'll put the same and differentiate it with a different subject. Latest table, latest Premier League table, and also email body in a HTML format. And the table that we query from here, the HTML df underscore HTML table will be into this part of the text here, the angle bracket table and the bracket table. Later you will see that we will use the replace method to replace this with that table. So the table will be after this introductory text and before your sign off. So here, this is the config file, the path of the config file. And from here, we will create a list. We'll create a data frame first with this table here. Then after which we will convert it to the list, the data frame into a list. The purpose of converting it to a 2D list is so that we can loop through it and automate the creating of the draft email. So now the looping here, this is the looping part for item in the email list, this is the email list. So we have 2 items. This is the first item. And this is the second item. So you loop through, then you will fit the first as the 2, the second one, the index second as a CC, third is a subject, and the fourth is the email body. But after the email body, we have one more step, then that is to replace the table with this df underscore HTML table, which we created here. So you will replace wherever you will see this text, you will replace it with this table. So this text have to be unique. It can be any other text, but it has to be unique within your email body. So after that, we will run the method create draft email, and we will fit all this argument into this function. So when we run this script, it will create the connection to the SQL. It will create the query. It will create the HTML table from the query. Then it will use the config file to create all the variables of the email, your recipient, your subject, your body, to which it will create the draft email in a loop. So if you had, currently we have 2, so if you have 4 or 5, you will create 4 or 5 draft email. So I will include this source code in my blog, codingengineer.com, and the link will be in this video below. So that's it, folks, for today. So today we have used Python to create draft Outlook mail, and also include a table in the email body, which is queried from your SQL database. So thank you, folks, for watching. I'll see you again. Thank you.